These are the only two exercises you need for massive forearms. Did you know that the forearm involves a muscle group so neglected that more than 80% of men simply don't even know the correct way to train it? Many guys try to justify this negligence by saying that wrist size has genetic limits, that it can't be increased, that it's what you were born with. But in reality, those who usually say this are simply too lazy to train this muscle. And yes, it can be improved both in strength and muscle definition, just like any other muscle group in your body. It's very common to see guys at the gym giving total priority to other muscles they consider more important, like chest, biceps, triceps, and abs, but completely neglecting the forearms. Those who do this are missing out on a series of benefits, such as increased grip strength that improves your performance in practically all exercises involving holding weight, prevention of wrist and elbow injuries, and the aesthetic balance of your arms as a whole. And we don't even need to talk about the aesthetic appeal. The forearms are muscles that are always on display, even when you wear a short-sleeved shirt. If you're one of those guys who trains to catch women's attention, know that a well-developed forearm is one of the body parts they notice most. Therefore, in this video, you'll see the only exercises you really need to have massive forearms once and for all. Before we begin, please leave in the comments your name and the city from where you're watching our content. First, you need to understand a bit about the anatomy of this muscle group. The forearm consists of three main muscle groups: the wrist flexors, which are located on the inner part of the forearm and are responsible for bending the wrist toward the inner part of the arm. They're the ones that give that thickness to the underside of the forearm. The wrist extensors, which are located on the outer part of the forearm and are responsible for extending the wrist, lifting the hand upward. They give that definition to the upper part of the forearm. And the brachioradialis, which is that muscle that forms a ball on the outer side of the forearm, near the elbow. It's responsible for elbow flexion when the forearm is in a neutral position. Now that you better understand the forearm structure, let's move on to the exercises that will truly make this region grow. Exercise 1. Wrist extensions. Wrist extensions are fundamental for developing the back of the forearm, that region that gives definition when you extend your arm. This exercise directly works the extensor muscles of the forearm, which are frequently neglected but are essential for complete and balanced development. To perform correctly, you'll need a bench and a light dumbbell to start. Sit on the bench and rest your forearm on your thigh, leaving the wrist hanging off with your palm facing down. The dumbbell should be secure in your hand. From this position, you'll make a well-controlled movement, lifting just the wrist as high as you can, keeping the forearm fixed on your leg. It's as if you were waving goodbye to someone, but using only the wrist movement. A common mistake many people make is using a weight that's too heavy right away. This causes you to compensate with other muscles and not properly work the extensors. Another mistake is performing the movement too quickly or using momentum. This drastically reduces the effectiveness of the exercise. Keep the movement slow and controlled, focusing on muscle contraction. For optimal results, I recommend doing 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions with a weight that allows you to complete all repetitions with good technique, but that becomes difficult in the final reps. Rest 60 seconds between sets. Include this exercise in your routine twice a week, preferably on days when you train back or shoulders, since the extensors are already somewhat recruited in these workouts. As you get stronger, gradually increase the weight, but never sacrifice technique. If you feel discomfort in your wrist during the exercise, reduce the weight and focus even more on correct execution. Remember that this is a smaller muscle group, so load progression should be more conservative compared to other larger muscles. Before we continue to the second exercise, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to correct and science-based information is what will make you progress in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Exercise 2. Wrist curls. Wrist curls are the main exercise for developing the flexors, which are the muscles on the bottom of the forearm that give that impressive thickness. These muscles are essential not only for aesthetics but also for improving your grip strength, which will reflect in all other exercises you do at the gym. To perform correctly, you'll basically do the opposite of wrist extensions. Sit on the bench and rest your forearm on your thigh, but this time with your palm facing up. Hold the dumbbell and keeping your forearm immobile. Lift the weight using only the wrist movement, maximally contracting the flexors at the top of the movement. Then, lower the weight in a controlled manner to the starting position, allowing a good stretch at the end of the movement. The most common errors here are similar to those of extensions: using excessive weight, performing the movement quickly or using momentum, and not completing the full range of motion. Many also forget to contract the muscle at the top of the movement, which reduces the benefits. Another frequent error is letting the forearm move during the exercise. It should remain fixed on your thigh the entire time. The programming for wrist curls should be similar to that of extensions: 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions, with a weight that allows for good execution, but is challenging in the last repetitions. Rest 60 seconds between sets. You can train the flexors on the same day as the extensors, also twice a week. A tip that works very well for me is to do a superset, alternating between wrist extensions and wrist curls without rest between them, resting only after completing both exercises. This gives an incredible pump in the forearms and saves time. If you opt for this, reduce the weight a bit to maintain quality execution. These 2 exercises will already be enough to build forearms stronger than 99% of the guys at the gym. But if you want to go even further and have titanium forearms, here are 3 additional movements you might like. Additional exercise 1. Farmer's walk. The farmer's walk is probably the most underestimated exercise when it comes to building powerful forearms. This exercise not only works all the forearm muscles in an integrated way, but is also extremely functional, as it simulates the action of carrying weight in everyday life. What makes the farmer's walk so effective for forearms is the continuous isometric tension it provides. Throughout the entire exercise, your forearm muscles are maximally contracted to maintain the grip on the weights, which creates an immense growth stimulus. To perform correctly, you'll need heavy dumbbells, kettlebells, or trap bars, depending on what your gym offers. Grab a weight in each hand, keeping your arms extended at your sides, shoulders back, and maintaining an erect posture. Then, walk for a predetermined distance, usually 20 to 30 meters, at a constant and controlled pace. A common mistake is choosing a weight that's too light. For the farmer's walk to be effective for the forearms, you need to use a weight that really challenges your grip strength. Another mistake is hunching your shoulders forward or looking at the ground while walking. This can cause spine injuries. Always maintain an upright posture, looking forward. Ideally, do 3 to 4 sets of farmer's walk, walking about 30 meters, or until you feel your grip is about to fail. The rest time between sets can be a bit longer, from 90 to 120 seconds, since it's an exercise that demands a lot, not only from the forearms, but from the entire body. Include the farmer's walk in your routine at least once a week, preferably at the end of a back or leg workout. As your grip strength improves, increase the weight you carry or the distance traveled. An interesting variation is to hold the weights with just your fingers, which increases the stimulus to the forearms even more. The farmer's walk will not only transform your forearms, but will also improve your posture, strengthen your core, and increase your overall muscular endurance. It's really an exercise that gives great results with little time investment. Additional exercise 2. Reverse curl. The reverse curl is an excellent exercise for working the forearm extensors and the brachioradialis, that muscle that adds volume to the lateral part of the forearm near the elbow. Unlike traditional curls that focus more on the biceps, the reverse curl places emphasis on the forearm, especially when executed with the correct technique. The main differentiator of the reverse curl is the hand position. Instead of holding the bar or dumbbells with palms facing up, as in the direct curl, you'll hold them with palms facing down. This simple change in grip transfers much of the work from the biceps to the forearm muscles. To perform correctly, stand with an erect posture, holding the bar or dumbbells with pronated hands at shoulder width. Keep your elbows close to your body and, in a controlled manner, flex your elbows, bringing the weight toward your shoulders. Pause in the contracted position, and then slowly lower the weight to the initial position, with arms almost completely extended. The most common errors in this exercise include using momentum by swinging the body to help lift the weight, moving the elbows away from the body during the movement, and not controlling the eccentric phase. Another frequent error is using too heavy a weight, which compromises technique and decreases recruitment of the forearm muscles, causing other muscle groups to compensate. Since this exercise works relatively small muscles, it's better to use a lighter weight and focus on perfect execution. I recommend 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions, using a weight that allows you to complete all repetitions with good form, but is challenging in the last 2 or 3 repetitions. Rest 60 to 90 seconds between sets. The reverse curl can be included in your routine 1 to 2 times a week, ideally on days when you train back or biceps. For a greater effect on the forearms, try doing this exercise after you've already worked the biceps, because when the biceps are already fatigued, the forearms need to work even harder, generating a greater growth stimulus. Additional exercise. 3. Hammer curl. The hammer curl is one of the most effective exercises for developing the brachioradialis, which is that muscle that forms a ball on the lateral part of the forearm. Although many people think the hammer curl is primarily a biceps exercise, it actually places quite a bit of emphasis on the forearm when performed correctly. The fundamental difference of the hammer curl is in the neutral position of the hands, where the palms face each other, as if you were holding hammers. This position places more tension on the brachioradialis than traditional curls, which makes it an essential exercise for those who want thicker forearms. To perform correctly, stand with an erect posture, holding a dumbbell in each hand at your sides, with palms facing each other. Keep your elbows close to your body and, without using momentum, flex your elbows, bringing the dumbbells toward your shoulders, always keeping the palms facing each other throughout the movement. Make a small pause at the top of the contraction and then lower the weights in a controlled manner to the initial position. The most common errors include rotating the hands during the movement, which ends up transforming the exercise into a regular curl, using body momentum to help lift the weight, and not keeping the elbows fixed close to the body. Many also make the mistake of not pausing at the point of maximum contraction, which significantly reduces the benefits. To maximize results, I recommend 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions, using a weight that allows you to maintain perfect technique but is challenging in the last repetitions. Rest 60 to 90 seconds between sets. If you prefer, you can alternate arms instead of lifting both dumbbells simultaneously, which allows you to use slightly heavier weights. An effective strategy is to do the hammer curl after more traditional biceps exercises, when your main muscles are already somewhat fatigued, forcing greater recruitment of the brachioradialis. It's worth remembering that although the hammer curl is an excellent exercise for the forearms, it alone is not sufficient for complete development of this region. As I mentioned at the beginning, it should be part of a routine that also includes the other exercises we've covered here. Other secrets to maximize results. Number 1. Increase training volume. It's not enough to do a few sets and expect magical results. For your muscles to grow, it's essential to progressively overload them. This means you should challenge your forearms with more weight or more repetitions over time. Number 2, consistency. Consistency is queen here. If you don't maintain a regular routine, you won't see the changes you desire. Number 3, balanced training. Each of these muscles should be trained in a balanced way to avoid imbalances. If you focus on just one of them, your strength and overall development will likely be limited. For example, working only the wrist flexors might leave the wrist extensors underdeveloped, which could cause weakness in your grip or even injuries in the long term. Additionally, the brachioradialis is fundamental for improving grip strength and the ability to lift heavy weights, something that certainly interests you if you're looking to increase your overall strength. Number 4, protein-rich diet. Maintaining a protein-rich diet is crucial. If you're not feeding your muscles properly, no matter how much you train, the results simply won't come. Be sure to include sufficient sources of quality protein, such as lean meats, eggs, or protein supplements if necessary. Protein is the foundation for muscle repair and growth. This is one of the most common mistakes made by the majority of people who train. And if beyond this, you want to know about 10 other mistakes that end up throwing all your training and effort in the trash, we've left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one of them. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.